Not too long ago, a Canadian teen named Amanda got naked on an anonymous campsite for some nerds on the internet. Nerds are funny, though, because when you're a girl and you give them what they want, you're still a girl and they're going to punish you for that. So they recorded a video and sent it all over the goddamn place. It wasn't long before her classmates found it and started giving her serious shit every day. Eventually, the extreme pressure to undo the damage, which was constantly being perpetuated by more and more sad, awkward internet fucks with no basic understanding of gratitude, drove Amanda to take her own life. "This is really fucked up," the world responded. "Why do our kids think it's okay to turn someone's life into a constant, miserable hell as an extracurricular activity?" Amanda's parents decided to use her death as an example of the dangers that seemingly harmless online bullying can produce, and in hopes to save the lives of other victimized kids. The United States has its share of suicide cases from bullying over things that can't be changed, like sexual identity, embarrassing photos, and other things that make insecure people nervous and angry. These insecure people can be high schoolers trying to grasp the concept of "please somebody think I'm cool," but they can also be college dropouts who haven't been outside in so long they've actually forfeited the ability to reasonably communicate with the outside world in favor of swearing at YouTube videos for eternity. The point is that we've always tried as a society to make a positive impact in light of such a tragedy. Kids need to learn that bitter assholes aren't worth hearing and to not become a bitter asshole just because you aren't sure what cool is yet. Today I heard the report about the recent suicide of Hannah Smith of England. Hannah was bullied over the anonymous question site Ask.fm. I used similar question sites in high school. There have been 4 or 5 since. Before I realized that nobody has an incentive to anonymously compliment another person, and one person can flood your entire inbox with the most stupid, putrid, misspelled hate words that they could possibly think of. I know that that's what they all say, and that's okay. It's important for us to learn when we're young that the world is a terrible place, and people say terrible things for the sole reason that nobody gives them enough attention. But if your best friend isn't online to back you and your inbox is getting filled with hate, even if it's all the same person, part of insecure teenager you is going to wonder, damn, what if this is my entire class? It's at least possible that literally everybody hates me for a reason I can't even imagine, right? Hannah Smith's parents want to know why Ask.fm didn't stop their daughter's bullies. They want to have more laws in place to stop sites like Ask.fm from creating places where assholes can be anonymous. They want you, the adult watching the news, to boycott Ask.fm as if you've been using the anonymous teen attention site before this. In this Sky News report, a correspondent flew to Latvia, climbed to the small second-story Ask.fm office, made a quip about how they must prefer to be anonymous too, and then banged on their door and waited around with cameras. 2 low-level employees finally came back from the bathroom, and a guy told them in broken English that he couldn't say anything. The guy yelled back, "Why won't you give an interview? The world wants to know what you're going to do about this." The company stated that it does not condone online bullying. This statement was repeated a lot like it was huge fucking news. The Sky correspondent went across Riva to the office of the Latvian equivalent of Facebook, where an employee gave him an excellent analogy of burning down a building because somebody wrote a rude word inside. The reporter seemed to not catch any of that, and the great island of Britain remains outraged that such websites are allowed to exist. She was a happy, happy girl, her father emphasized over and over. Not to be a dick, but you might not be an awesome father if you pretend that some unknown force crept into your daughter's room and murdered your smiling child who hadn't a care in the world. She needed help, dude. Teenagers are terrible to each other, and without some interference of parents to teach their kids that mean kids have issues and this will pass, your kid's life can become hell in one night. School becomes a terrifying place where you're absolutely certain that nobody wants to be near you, and home becomes a cold and silent place where the internet is your only source of feeling. Every kid goes through this, and then every kid goes home and meets on the internet where they must either become a predator or prey. This does not mean that kids should not be on the internet. It means that some fucking buddy, anybody, needs to give kids the attention they need to build the confidence that it takes to survive hormone hell and finally cross to adulthood. Without that support, without that guidance and attention, these vulnerable kids might make the only decision that makes sense to them in that last hopeless moment. The Latvian guys who run the servers at Ask.fm did not kill Hannah Smith. Sky News worded the news as Ask.fm, the website directly responsible for the death of young Hannah Smith. If you had just turned on the TV, you'd think they found her and murdered her. They didn't do this. And maybe that's hard to hear, especially when you're the parent or the loved one of someone who did take their own life. But it's also important as hell to know if we really want to stop it from happening more. The website created the medium, but it could have easily been a telephone or a handwritten note in her locker. The bullies created her darkness, likely out of misguided darkness of their own. But Hannah left this world not because of the site and not because of the bullies. Hannah left because there was literally nobody there to tell her about the cycle of darkness that breeds more darkness, the sadness that can turn men to monsters, and the reasons why we can feel safe in knowing that their harsh words mean nothing real. Hannah's parents tried, I'm sure, as everybody would, but the most effective way to solve such a personal tragedy is to be honest about what caused it and to do whatever we can to stop the cycle. This is the talk that can save your child's life, and nobody's fucking having it. Bullies come in many forms, from anonymous internet flamers to the young school shooters who have already lost their minds. Bullies are born from the pain of solitude. Kids constantly attack other kids to look tough, but they're always glancing over their shoulder to see if they've earned the respect of the other bully. The bully whose sense of self-worth comes from that kid's tiny glance. Everybody is fucked up, and being a teenager can ruin your brain. All we can do is love our children, teach them the truth, and fight to make mental health services more effective and easier to obtain. Blaming the form that some kids use to hurt another kid is a distraction from the kind of changes that really will save people.